Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. We are at the Frank Brush Barn for our bi-monthly tool meet, and I'm looking forward to it. I get here a little bit early because I don't want to avoid the traffic on the way out here, and it is beautiful out here. They're expecting some rain, but you can see in the background what beautiful grounds it is here. This barn goes back to the 1700s, one of the first barns and settlements here on Long Island, so it has some history to it. And there's a few people here, a couple people I'm trying to...
Hey, Scoutcraft!
How's everything?
You still suck!
Yeah, well, so now we should be starting up in a few minutes, and I hope to get video. Last time I lost the video on the phone, but this time I'll make sure that I double check and keep it locked in, so you'll get to see what's going on tonight. Maybe we'll find some good projects. Let's take a look. Now this is actually an hour and a half before the 6 o'clock startup time, and you could see already people are here. You know, the early bird gets the worm, but it's important to remember that they were calling for rain all night, so it was going to be a light turnout anyway, but that just makes it better for the people that are there. Now this is Chris's bench. Chris was the president of the club at one time. He's a great guy, and you know, Chris always brings down stuff. Look at this. Everything here on the one side of the table is $5 that you're looking at. Now here, it's still, the show actually didn't start yet. It's still about 5:30. The show starts at 6. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to be seen. And we all like to talk tools. And here's a box that they just opened up. And it was like flies. Everybody was gathering around like a new find. Now this spot I had to film for you because I thought you'd get a kick out of it. This is the other side of Chris's table. Everything here is $1. And think about that. Think about what kind of buys you are looking at right here. Everything here that you're looking at is $1. It's just amazing, isn't it? And the highlight of the night, Joe came down with Charlie. Did you ever get a favorite gas station? This is my favorite gas station. Look at all these pumps. I just love this place. They got nice inside. They got a little Dunkin' Donuts in there, and isn't this just a nice, clean gas station? You don't get too many of them. This is one of my favorites. Every time I always get gas here, no matter what, whether I need it or not. And I just love this. Well lit. I just like a good gas station. Now, I know you think that's kind of crazy that somebody would enjoy a gas station so much, but coming from the city, all the gas stations are dirty, they're crowded, it's just tight, everything's small. And when you come out to the suburban areas, look how nice this is. They got all the snacks that you want or whatever. And on the other side, they got a Subway and a Dunkin' Donuts. I love coming here, and it makes my night complete. So as you can see, I had a really good time yesterday. It's the next day, obviously. And now I only have a couple hours to get a project up and get it uploaded for tomorrow's video. But I have everything I bought was all in this box, and I will show it to you on Monday what I bought, except for one item. And let me tell you a little bit about this one item. Okay, for today's project, you see this here. This happened to be on Chris's $5 section of his table, and I was there with Dan, and Dan was talking, and he lifted this up, and Dan said, he looked at it, he said, "What do you think? You think you could save this?" And we were talking about socket chisels for a while, which this is. And then Dan walked away, and I grabbed it. And I says, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to surprise Dan on today's show. And I'm going to knock this out. You know, it's pretty rough, as you can see. You know, obviously this has been left out. And we do this stuff all the time. But we're going to talk a little bit about socket chisels. We're going to talk a little bit about the handle. I don't think this handle can be saved, but these were consumable. These were meant, and there's a lot of things you have to learn about these handles. So let's get started right away. First thing we're going to do is do a quick cleanup on this and see where we're at. Now, to save yourself a lot of time, what you would do is you would make what's called a prototype handle. And a prototype handle is basically, since a handle requires a lot of fitting back and forth and measuring, you would make a handle that you would use and hang on the wall more or less, and that's a permanent handle that you can go back to anytime you wanted to make a new handle for your chisel, because it's so easy to just take the measurements and make a new handle from the existing prototype. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this chisel looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. You know, I got about 5 hours into this into this chisel, but it was a challenge, and when Dan gives a challenge out, you don't want to take it lightly. Look at that. It's all taken down to the original steel. I didn't put a super sharp tip on it, but it is sharp. It'll work, but it's not a tip that you would use it. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the socket handles. This was a harder handle to make for blacksmiths and things like that because of the way of the design. But they were much more preferred by carpenters and especially timber framers, because what happens is, obviously you won't have this mashing down because you're not having direct contact with this. And this piece of wood is considered consumable. And you can see here a little bit about the band in the back. They put these bands in the back here so that when you bang on here and this swells up a little bit, that this won't split the wood. And it's the same here. Now, if you notice, there's a little bit of a gap here. That gap is necessary. And anytime you look at a chisel, if you see it's flush, that's not right. There should be at least a small gap there, because what happens is this is a wedge fit because it's a tapered chisel. So when the handle goes in, it's fitted in there. And you don't want this resting on the shoulder, because that's just like hitting the shoulder of the chisel. So you want it to, just like this, is perfect to fit. We have that back ring in here, and you also want a little bit above the ring and a little bit below the ring. Same reason, so it won't split. But this I made quickly out of pine, because this would be considered a blank, a prototype blank. So when I want to make a handle out of an exotic wood, I take this handle, pop it out, and then I make it out of, oak, ash, hickory, something that's, harder wood, something exotic maybe if I want, but that's what this is. And it's a beautiful chisel, isn't it? I mean, the lines on it and whatnot. But this, like I said, it was a little bit harder of a project than it looks, but hope you enjoyed this project, seeing this $5 chisel come back to life. And on Monday, I'll show you the rest of the stuff I got. Hope you have a nice weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care now. Bye-bye.